Well, hello, folks, and welcome back to this video series on all of the Recovering from Religion programs that we've got to offer. My name is Eric Wells. I'm the support group director, and today we're going to be talking about the Ambassador program. And I am so excited to bring back to talk about the Ambassador program, the Executive Director of Recovering from Religion, Gayle Jordan. Gayle, welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be here again.
It's good to see you. So we're talking about the Ambassador program. What is this? Why do we need an ambassador program? And what? Yeah, let's start with the easy question. What is the Ambassador program?
Okay, interesting. I think it will not surprise anybody. If they think I look familiar, it's because you may have seen me in the executive director interview, because I am the executive director of Recovering from Religion. And I mentioned in that interview, if you haven't seen it, you will. And one of the things that the board of directors and I require when we start a new program is that we put a team together. We submit a proposal. Well, sometimes the person that puts the team together and submits the proposal serves as the director. And so the reason that I'm serving as the interim temporary director of the Ambassador program is because it was my idea and it was built out of necessity in the first place. As the executive director of Recovering from Religion, in what we call the secular universe, we have conventions and meetings and different things. And sometimes the board, Dr. Ray, me, and some of the board of directors will speak at these meetings. We do what's called tabling at these meetings, because at a convention, in between the sessions, like people haven't been to a convention, in between sessions, there's often a vendor's room or an organization's room, and we're able to what is known as tabling, which is we put out our literature, we staff those tables, we answer questions, we meet folks, we show them what we provide, we exchange information, all those kinds of things. And Daryl and I, Dr. Ray and I, try to attend as many as we can. These are any convention that falls under that secular umbrella. For example, the American Atheist or the American Humanist or the Freedom from Religion Foundation, different ones we try to attend. And those are usually annual meetings, and we thoroughly enjoy them. It's a lot of travel and it's a lot of work, but it's gratifying work, so we're happy to do it. And what I noticed was, we had our team of dedicated volunteers would sometimes reach out and say, hey, there's going to be a big pride parade and festival in my town. Is there any way you could come and table and be a presence there? And we do try to do some of those things. But what I was noticing was, wow, those are not just regional. Sometimes those are local, even to the towns. And Daryl and I and many board members, we just can't cover them all. There's not enough weekends in the year for us to be able to cover them. So it occurred to me, what if we enlist the help of our local volunteers to do that? It worked with support groups. Our idea of having local support groups so people could come. What if we had the ability to give our folks some special training on what it means to table and what it means, some background in the history of recovering from religion, our philosophy, that kind of thing, so that they're able to table in their different locations. And that way we can replicate what Daryl and I do exponentially. We can use our volunteers that we have in 23 of 24 time zones in whatever festivals nearby, maybe up to a 2-hour drive range. If they wanted to do this, maybe at an Earth Day festival or at a farmer's market or at a job fair where they put the word out that they would allow tablers to be there. The list is endless. And so we developed this program as usual, developed a proposal, put together a team, submitted it to the board, and the board said, well, absolutely, sure, do that. So we put the team together, we put the training together, we put the program together, and it has, we developed that in February of 2020. Does that sound familiar?
Something was happening around that time.
Something else happened in about February of 2020.
Trying to place it.
I know. So we launched, and we got our ambassadors in, and we got them trained, and we give them tabling packages, which are table covers and cards and brochures and knickknacks and pens that are stamped with a Recovering from Religion, all the awesome stuff that you have at a table. And COVID hit. So our ambassador program, like everything else on the planet, went kind of into suspension, because all of the activities, all of these local festivals and parades and organizations and get-togethers got canceled, postponed, whatever it is. And we're still in existence. We have we adapted. We went back to our ambassadors and we said, okay, it looks like, after the first month or two, when we saw what a shit show it was all going to be, we encouraged our ambassadors, everything went virtual. So we encouraged our ambassadors to try to seek out appearances on podcasts, or, finding some way to participate, because all of us are now in lockdown. We're kind of quarantined in our homes. We're trying to be safe. We're trying to keep our society safe. So we sort of redirected their efforts into online, as we, depending upon when you're listening to this recording, as we maybe perhaps sometime round the corner on this, we hope to be able to return to in-person events, and we'll have our ambassadors trained and in place. But right now we've redirected them into participating in a virtual way in the same kind of thing, the same kind of representing RfR effort that we did, that we had done before the pandemic started. And so that's where we are.
That's a great idea. I like that. And so what that kind of tells me is, like, if I'm in a town, a small town, and there's a small convention going on, and if I see if I'm walking around like the vendor area, and if I see a booth for Recovering from Religion, then that's part of the ambassador program.
That's part of the ambassador program.
Not you or Daryl or some of the board members.
And actually, it started, my thought in the beginning was, I get all these requests to be able to table places. And so what I'll do is I'll tell the ambassadors, hey, there's one nearby, there's one in Seattle, and you're only an hour's drive or whatever. And it turned out to be entirely the opposite. The ambassadors came to me and said, okay, there's this, and there's this. And there's even there's a process, as it won't surprise you to know, that you fill out a form and you find out if there's any tabling fees, and then you have to submit it and it has to be approved and all those things. And it turned out that, yes, I can still do that. I can still say, hey, there's an opportunity. We need an ambassador in this place or on this podcast. And I can reach out to my ambassador team. But more often than that, they come to me and say, I have this opportunity. Can I represent RfR at this gathering, this virtual gathering? So it's turned out beautifully. The ambassadors have responded beautifully to the pandemic, and trying to make it happen in spite of everything. And I hope, when the time comes and we return to the real-time thing, that it'll be just as gratifying for them.
Well, this sounds great. So if I was just a person who has been helped by RfR, or kind of heard about RfR, and I want to volunteer, I know I can go to the website and sign up to volunteer. Can I volunteer to be an ambassador right then?
You can't do it right then. One of our requirements is you have to be a volunteer in good standing, and you have to have had, I think we settled on about 6 months experience somewhere inside the organization. It helps to understand our job ethos and all of that. So we ask you to volunteer first. You have to be a volunteer in good standing, and there's some other requirements, and all of but after you come in, after you go through the volunteer process, after you've gotten your training, and after you've gotten your mentoring, and you've been volunteering a while, then you can reach out and say, I think, we have a festival here, and I think I'm interested in being an ambassador. You can do it that way, or you can just say, I don't have an event, but I want to get ready for it. You can do it that way too. So it's not something that you can volunteer directly for, because, as the title implies, it is kind of it's additional training, and it's sort of an elevated responsibility to be able to to go with the as the representative of RfR.
Well, and I really like that, because if I come in and I experience what it's like to be on the helpline agent, kind of helping people, talking to people all around the world, if I'm, let's say, in Colorado, and I am in a conversation with someone in Pakistan, like, this is really tough, and my empathy is turned up to 11 for this person. Or if I'm a support group leader and I get to see the effects of leading a support group, that would prepare me so much better to be an ambassador.
Clearly.
That's a great idea. That's wonderful.
That's a great idea. I hope that in the future, I have this big vision about what this can be, especially if we return to in-person events, where we have, either by state or by region, to have ambassador teams. So because tabling is exhausting. It's awesome, but it's exhausting, especially hour after hour after hour. And you've talked until you're hoarse because you're trying. First of all, it's always loud in those rooms. So you're having to talk a little bit louder. You're having to force your vocal cords to do more work, but it's also, it's hard. And so if we have teams, especially as the more ambassadors we bring in and train. And so when you have a regional conference, there's one coming up in Florida. When you have a regional conference, maybe the other RfR ambassadors in the Florida area, Alabama, Georgia, whatever, can kind of work as a team. And so they all attend the convention and they take turns tabling and they support one another tabling. So I have all this idea and this vision. It's because we got, preempted and waylaid on our process. It's, it's still developing. It's still in the process, but that's where we are with it.
I really like that. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. And so there's training involved for these ambassadors as well, and also material. So if I am an ambassador, do I have to go out and buy something? Do I have to print something off on my
provide
printer?
all of that. We've got tabling down to an art. So we provide all that, a table cover and the brochures and cards. And like I said, a little bit of RfR swag. So it draws, it's bait. It draws people to your table. That's what we call it whenever we're tabling at different places. Who's got the best bait? Bowl of candy. I don't know, whatever it takes to get you over here and let me tell you what RfR is doing. And so there's all of that. But no, we ship out a package after you have become trained, and it gives you the ability then to table. And so that's how the whole thing works.
Gayle, I'm an introvert, really, honestly. Having conversations with people, I get exhausted. Whereas my wife is an extrovert, and having conversations with people gets her really wound up and excited. And but I do enjoy tabling because this is something I'm passionate about. This is something I'm excited about. This is something that I know that fits into that gives me meaning and fits into the purpose of my life perfectly. And so I'm willing to kind of go and do this kind of tabling and talk with these kind of people, even though afterwards I'm exhausted and don't want to go.
It's exhausting, even for those of us who consider ourselves extroverts. But you're right. There's so much to tell people about, and Derek, I'll tell you, even just the exposure that we get, the people are like, do a double take, recovering from what? Because it's so antithetical to where our society is, with religion being so ubiquitous and it's so ever present, that just our table, just our banner, just that says recovering from religion. There's an org called Recovering from Religion before you ever even start talking about it. So, and there's such a need for it, besides the contacts that you make, and besides trying to recruit possible volunteers, possible donors. You're also serving a purpose just by your very presence, just by having the banner that says Recovering from Religion. It's an exciting time. As I said, it's in a weird place right now because of the pandemic, but we're still finding ways to be ambassadors for RfR. And hopefully in the future, when we return to in-person events, we'll be able to implement some more of these ideas for growth and developing our entire ambassador team. So, but thank you for the opportunity to talk about it.
Oh yeah, you bet. This has been fantastic. Well, folks, that's going to wrap up this video and this conversation about another amazing program that Recovering from Religion has. Up next, I think it's going to be RfR 3.0. We got a fantastic board member, Gwen Blodgett, is going to talk to us about that. So stick around for that one. Thanks again, Gayle.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.